and welcome to Don Bosco Youth Network Zambia. We are delighted to be with you today once again as we are talking about the Feast of Mary Help of Christians. Of course, I have been joined by a wonderful panel who are going to share with you more insight on Mary Help of Christian as well as the spirituality of Don Bosco. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much and happy feast to you.
Thank you. Happy feast day to you all. All right, so we are delighted to have these wonderful people on the panel today. And as I had mentioned earlier, today is the Feast of Mary Help of Christian, and also we are acknowledging the spirituality of Don Bosco, who was a father, an educator, as well as a pillar to the young people. But maybe we would like to find out more about the dream of Don Bosco. And you're studying it, Francis. You're kicking the ball today. Tell us about Don Bosco's dream.
Thank you so much. I'm glad that this is happening during the Feast of Mary Help of Christians. Don Bosco was born in Italy in the 19th century, born in a poor family, and then in the village, of course, and later working as a priest in Turin, Italy, where he found a lot of young people who had issues to do with, unemployment. And so, as a priest, Don Bosco discovered that he needed to be there for the young people. Mm-hmm. And so, he had a dream, and then it is in this dream where Don Bosco was guided by Mary. And then Don Bosco himself recounts a dream he had, which was an indication of his future. Mm-hmm. He said, when I was about 9 years old, I had a dream that left a profound impression on me for the rest of my life. I dreamt that I was near my home in a very large playing field where a crowd of children were having fun, but some were fighting and using bad language. It is in the same dream that Don Bosco is given the direction for his future. And this is what Jesus said to Don Bosco in a dream. You have to win these friends of yours, not with blows, but with gentleness and kindness. So begin right now to show them that sin is ugly and virtue is beautiful. So we can tell that from the dream itself, where Don Bosco is guided by Jesus to say, for you to work with young people, you need this aspect of gentleness and kindness. Because as you are aware, young people are in a crisis of identity. Mm-hmm. And then if you are not gentle, you will never work with them. So you need this aspect of being gentle with them. And this is a message to the priests out there who work with young people. For you to win the souls of young people, you need to be gentle, you need to be kind. You understand the times that young people are at. And Don Bosco is also worried at that moment, after that dream, but Mary Mother appears in the dream, in the same dream, and speaks to him. This is your field, this is where you must work. And again, make yourself humble, steadfast and strong. Mm-hmm. So Mary, Mother of Jesus, is also echoing the words that Jesus spoke of being, gentle and kind. So a great commission or a great mission is given to Don Bosco by Mary, Mother of Jesus, who said, this is your field. This is where you will work. And again, make yourself humble, steadfast, and strong. And Don Bosco was still confused. Mary added, giving him an assurance to say, in due time, everything will be clear to you. Meaning, she is going to guide him throughout his mission. And so, from the narrative, we understand that Mary was the focal point of Don Bosco's mission. Yeah, because she's the one who gave him that great commission to say, and then she assured him, I am going to guide you throughout your work. So A dream that started in Italy is now all over, and here we are in Zambia talking about our patron saint. And you should remember that Don Bosco is also a patron saint of the young people.
Now let's just go back a little bit into history. I wanted to say today in history, but then I remembered that today is not the 8th of December. So Sarah, what happened on the 8th of December in the year 1814?
Okay, so as you are aware, the church celebrates the feast of Mary Immaculate on 8th December. So this is where Don Bosco was preparing to go for mass. And then as he was doing that, a young boy came to the sacristy. He wasn't even looking for anything to do with religion or that. All he wanted was some warmth because it was cold outside. So when the young boy went in the sacristy, the sacristan who was there just said, let me chase him. This young boy is known as Bartolomeo Garelli. Yes. So the sacristan there chased him and said, look, we don't want you here. But because Don Bosco was all loving, and he just said, no, don't let him go. Leave him, let him come. And then Garelli, upon hearing Don Bosco speak to him and what he was told, he felt he had a home. And that's how he stayed, because Don Bosco showed him some love. So they were together, and then because at the beginning, after he was chased, he was really terrified. But when Don Bosco showed up, he felt he found a home. And then in the end, what did he do? He went and called his friends. So more of his friends came and started coming every day. That was the beginning of the oratory for Don Bosco. So a lot of his friends would come, and then that's where they used to meet. And considering the dream that Francis had spoken about earlier, so Don Bosco was really trying to see how he can keep these young people out of mischief. So he introduced games to them. He started teaching them catechism. And then also they would come and have food from there. It was just something nice that everybody was enjoying being in that presence. So they were attracted by his obvious love for them. And then he paired with his talent for magic tricks and juggling. Then Don Bosco had to rent a field, because initially or eventually a lot of children or these young people started coming. This is where Nachukapano, I go and see my friends and say, you are still here. Things are happening there where Don Bosco is, so let's go. So everyone just kept bringing more young people. And then because Don Bosco had a love for the young people, he had this great love for them, so he kept embracing them. Eventually the place they were at became smaller, and he decided to rent a place for them. So this is what happened on the 8th, and then we all look at it because it is through Mother Mary, and for Don Bosco that was a great thing, because the oratory started on the feast of Mary Immaculate, where he had to bring this boy. And then we can say this started through the prayer, the intercessory prayer of Hail Mary. And this is where we are now. Even when you go everywhere where there are Salesians, we always have an oratory because of this. We try to bring young people closer to God.
Very insightful there. Now, Edward, Mary is constantly being addressed as Mary, Hope of Christian. Are there any other factors that are interesting or that are outstanding for you that were done by Don Bosco that you point out to, or that would inspire you as a young person?
His favorite title was Mary, the Help of Christians, and also one of the significant moments was when his mother passed. He knelt down, to the image of Our Lady Mary, asking to console him, and ask him to be his mother at this moment. This is the boy who had just lost his mother, and then he went, and knelt to the image of Mary, the Help of Christians, to be his mother, and at very hour, this is where now Don Bosco calls Mary Help of Christians, because that was a moment where he needed help from the Great Mother.
Judith, we have seen how we have evolved as a community, as a country generally, and as well as Christians. Do you think that people have still taken devotion or praying the rosary as core importance to their daily lives?
the rosary is a way of life. Okay, we just don't meditate on it. It is simply a way of life in that whatever that we're going through, and when you get to look at the mysteries of the rosary, Christ had already gone through it, and hence making our lives simpler each time we get to meditate on it. So I would say there's a fair share of people that still see the significance of praying the rosary. And yes, we do look at Don Bosco. He was taught by his parents on how to pray the rosary, and they prayed it as a family. A rosary is a very important prayer for us Catholics. Even today, we as families, we still pray the rosary at least individually. And you know the saying that says, a family that prays together stays together. Automatically, like when you get to recite the Hail Mary, Rosary, and meditate on the life Christ gave to us or to me, there is power in prayer, and it is evident in the life of our patron saint, who is Don Bosco.
Like we're celebrating today Mary Hope of Christians feast. So we know that the month of May is devoted to Mary, same as the month of October. So these are the things that we also need to also tell our young ones.
Now, there's always a misconception with regards to how we Catholics pray, and we are obviously dedicating this month of May, like she has highlighted, to Mother Mary, as we are going to be honoring her. And of course, people may misunderstand and say, oh, Catholics actually worship Mary. But our key focus, or what we would like you, our dear viewers, to understand, is the fact that we only respect and honor Mary for being the mother of Jesus Christ, but we worship God. Get it clear. We honor Mary and we worship God. Now, for that reason, Zara, we have a litany which is consecrated to Mother Mary. What is the litany?
Okay, so a litany is, it actually comes from a Greek word, litania. Yes, and then these are petitions or prayers that are used in a repeated manner. Yes, or we can call them sentiments in response to petitions, praise, intercessions, praise or blessings. They're used in public liturgical services and in private prayer. A litany can be a prayer for help, a prayer for praise, forgiveness, thanksgiving, or blessing. So therefore, we can say litanies consist of a lead statement followed by a repeated response, such as pray for us, or we praise you, or bless you, we thank you, or Lord, hear us. So these are some of the things. So maybe when we're praying, I can say when we're praying the rosary, there's always a part where we have to say the litany of Mary. Yes, and then we can start, oh Lord, have mercy, and then there's a response. So those are, yes, like that is the lead, and then there's a response. Yes.
What is the relevance of Marian Shrine pilgrimages? Should we still go there? Like, what's the importance?
Pilgrimage is often used to describe individuals' journey through life, sometimes as a general description of a personal growth and exploration. Sometimes in Christianity, outlining a particular spiritual focus or pathway is believed will lead to an encounter with God. So we may say, I'm on a pilgrimage to Marian Shrine. For example, I mean I'm on a pathway to encounter God. So it is important for us to have an encounter with God through us becoming pilgrims, and it is through that journey that we get to also just be alone. It is a time for an introspection with you, God, and your Christian life.
You know, when you're walking and you're in prayer, this is a time where you have to reflect through life, and considering the fact that you know Mother Mary is by your side, and there are just certain portals that you've been through in your life and you're walking. You know, it's easier for you to reflect, and then after you reflect, there's just that, there's a way you feel afterwards, you know.
Pilgrimage is a time for reset. Okay, it's a time that you don't just walk, but this time you are walking with purpose.
Yes.
And you even have an intention of prayer where you are believing God for maybe a job. At first, growing up, we'll just go for a pilgrimage because everyone is there. And it was all fun, the people would sing. But then, as we were growing up, it began to change the meaning in us to say, I think it's not just walking, but as you are walking, you are praying. You are asking God for the needs that you want.
And if anything, we always recite the rosary.
Exactly, all the way. So the time for distraction is no longer there because you are. It's nice to pray in unison as young people.
It's a journey where you can find yourself as a young person. So I think as young people, it's important that we take advantage of this moment so that at least it becomes a fresh start for us, because we are coming from a place where we were dependent on people, but then we're coming out in the world as independent people, So it's a point where you can start afresh in this journey of hardships. This is where we're starting to understand hardships of life.
All right, so this is how we wrap up today's show. It has been very, very interesting, quite insightful. We are talking about Mary Help of Christians, but also it's feast day, and we are talking about people walking to the Marian shrine. This is our faith, this is our tradition. We continue to uphold it and to defend our faith despite of all the things that other people may say about it. Know where you stand, know that you speak the truth, and obviously, as St. Peter put it, he says, always be prepared to give an answer to everyone who asks you to give them a reason for the hope that you have, but do it with gentleness and respect. So in as much as somebody may come to you and say, hey Cecilia, why are you worshiping Mary? Why are you wearing the rosary? Give them an answer, give them an explanation. They don't know, but be gentle as you respond to them. So this is where we close today's show. I've been your host, Chivesa Cecilia Mungulube, and of course in the studio, I was joined by great and wonderful people. The gender was balanced today. We had Judith on the panel, Sarah Francis, as well as Edward. So on behalf of the entire production crew here at Don Bosco Network Zambia, say goodbye and stay blessed.